Hi, welcome to Flourish Computers Academy. This is a computer training for beginners. This course is designed for beginners. And today we are going to be looking at lesson 2. Last video that I uploaded, it was lesson 1. So if you have not watched that video, I will advise that you go ahead and then watch the video. Our objective is for everyone who really desire to learn computer and does not really have any skill whatsoever. We are able to put up the content that will enable and allow you to learn right from your home and learn about computers and the computers application. So today we are going to be talking about lesson 2, and then the lesson 2 is computer ports. That's what we are going to be looking at today, and I'm your instructor for this class. My name is Yinka Olarewaju. So please do well to subscribe to our channel at Flourish Computers, as you can see here. Okay, so and if you have any question whatsoever, go ahead and drop a message in the comment section. You can also send us a WhatsApp chat through the official line. This is our WhatsApp line, and then we are going to attend to that. Like I said, I'd like you to like, subscribe, and share this particular video so that others get to know about it. And not only that, when I upload the next video, you'll be able to get a notification. So subscribe and click on the notification bell so you can get notified when I post the next video. Now let's go straight to the business of the day. What is a port? That's what we are going to start with. Okay, we talk about hardware, software, and different type of software that we have in the last video in lesson 1. Today we'll be looking at a port because your input and output devices that we discuss will be connected to your CPU, connected to your computer. So they do the connection. The connection is done via the port on your computer. So we need to know what is a port and what are the different types of ports that we have and what are the ports being used for. Also in this video today, towards the end, I'm going to show you how to actually troubleshoot a USB port. If a USB port is not working, and then we're going to show you. And then in the next lesson as well, I will also let you know what to look out for if you want to buy a computer. Before you ever buy any computer at all, what is it that you need to consider, you need to put into consideration? So that is why I am asking you to subscribe to this channel so that as I upload the next video, you can get them from the right source, and then you get the information. So now, what is a port? A port is a physical docking point through which an external device can be connected to the computer. So take note of the word physical here. So I'm going to show you the example. Now, we said a physical docking point through which an external device. What do you mean by external device? Your keyboard is an external device. Your mouse, your printers, they are external. Even your phone is an external device. Your memory card, your flash drive, okay, your TV is an external device. Projector is an external device. So a port is a physical docking point through which an external device can be connected to the computer. Now look at the example of some of the ports that we have. Okay, this is a picture from the back of a desktop computer. These are ports. We have different ports. We are going to be talking about all these ports and some other ones that are not here. And also I will let you know how some of these ports are no longer, available, or you can no longer see them on your system. They have been replaced with a better and upgraded technology. But we are going to talk about them because you might still have an old system or you stumble on each of them. You need to know what they are and what they are used for. Okay, now a port also can be a programmatic docking point. Remember we said a physical. Also we have what we call a logical port. This one is not physical. You cannot see it the way you are seeing this one. Okay, but they exist. So we are not going to talk about that in this lesson because that's not the objective of this lesson today. Our objective is to talk about the physical port. But we also have what you call logical ports in computer. When we talk about the logical port, these are the ports you cannot see with your eyes like we are seeing this, but they exist. For example, if you are going to browse the internet, you need a port 80. We call it HTTP port. That is going to work with your URL address to be able to take you to the server where the content that you want to access actually reside. Now, you want that connection or the access to be more secure. Then we introduce what we call port 443, which is actually HTTPS. So if you have any website or URL that start with HTTPS, okay, slash slash floriscomputer.com. So that is telling you that HTTPS is actually a port, a logical port, which is port 443, a more secure port. We also have a DNS port. We have POP port, which is actually for sending email. We have that's port 110, port 110. We have port 25 for SMTP for receiving email. We have SSH port 22. We have FTP port. We have all manners of logical ports. So I'm just telling you about that so that you get to know that we only don't have physical ports in computer. We also have what you call a logical port, but that is not what we are discussing in our class today. Now, let's talk about the characteristics of ports. Okay, a port has the following characteristics, among others. The first one, external devices are connected to a computer using cables and ports. So the external device you want to connect, you connect it to your computer via the cable and the port. Okay, so that's the number one. Then the second one, ports are slots on the motherboard into which a cable of the external device is plugged in. So all the ports that I showed you earlier on the physical port at the back of that desktop, they are actually directly from the motherboard. The motherboard is inside your laptop casing or desktop. Okay, so that is why they call it motherboard. It contains all the components that your system is actually working with, the hardware components. So the ports are actually on the motherboard, and then through the casing they are, there's a placement provided for them for you to be able to plug your cable into those ports. Now let's look at the different topics that we are going to talk about today. This is a common one. I believe everybody should know about this power connector port. Okay, it's a pronged plug connect to the computer power cable that plug into a power bar or wall socket. So this is for a desktop adapter. You connect your cable, okay, the power cable goes into the back of your desktop, and the other 3 pin goes straight to the socket. Then you are connected to the power. So that's a power connector port. For a laptop, you also have that here. This is the port, and then you can see the cable. This is a power cable. The other side has gone into the socket that connects to a laptop. So it's important for me to say here that not all laptop ports are like this. Some of them are like USB ports. And look at all of this. These are different cable that can work in a laptop, or depending on the type of laptop. Some of them could have the blue mouth. Some of the HP, they have a blue tiny pin like this. And then you have most of Lenovo laptop have a USB like yellow mouth port, okay, on your laptop, and you have the cable that look like this. So I'm saying this so that you are not going to think that all the laptop ports or the power ports should just be a round hole like this. So it could be any of these mouths, okay, for the power connector port. Now let's look at the next one. The next port we are talking about is Ethernet port. What is Ethernet port? It is otherwise known as LAN port. This is the port. It's on all the laptop, okay, and desktop. You are going to have this port. It is also called LAN, LAN, which means local area network. What is the function? Why do you have it on your laptop? This is used to connect to the internet via cable. There are two ways you can connect to the internet. You can connect via the cable through this LAN port, or you connect, we call it a network cable, or you connect through your wireless adapter. So if you are working at home, you may never use this LAN port. Many of us, we don't even know that it exists on the laptop. Or if you know that it exists, you have not even used it before. You know why? The home network that you have is probably connected with wireless. you don't have a router, you don't have a switch. Even if you have a router, maybe it's a wireless router. That's why you don't use it. In an office where they do a lot of graphic work and they send every file, it is advisable for them to use a LAN port to connect to the internet if they have the infrastructure in the office. The reason is that the LAN port could actually transfer file. I mean, you can get a higher bandwidth more than what you are going to have from wireless. So that's the reason why it is being used in most offices or cases. However, like I said, you have it on the laptop. You have it on your desktop as well. It's called Ethernet port. Now, what is it all about again? It connects to a network, an high-speed internet. It connects the network cable to a computer. You see the way it's connected? This is the network cable that I was talking about, and this is the port. So the network cable goes straight to your computer. Your network engineer will be the one to provide this cable, crimp it, or go ahead and get, there's a factory fitted cable that could be bought, and then you use it to connect one egg like this, go to your laptop, the other egg will go to your router or go to your switch, and then your router will connect to your ISP device, and through that you have internet connected on your laptop. You're going to see the lights blinking here, amber light and green light, when there is a data transfer from the router or the switch to your system if it is working. So that's what that cable is all about. It's called an Ethernet port, okay, and the cable is called a network cable. So like I said earlier on, data travel at 10 MB to 1000 MB per second. This is 1 gig, depending upon the network bandwidth. As a matter of fact, data can travel up to 10, okay, GB, all right, through the network port. You cannot have that on a wireless network. So that is why I said definitely the speed when it comes to high speed internet, high speed, definitely Ethernet port is the best bet. That does not mean that you cannot get as high as internet that you require to work at home on your wireless LAN. Okay, so I'm just trying to differentiate between them. Now, the next one we are looking at is a serial port and parallel port. You are not going to have this in almost all the latest laptop. Okay, the manufacturers are no longer putting this port, I mean the serial port, the parallel port on a laptop any longer. So this port has been replaced with something else entirely. So what you are going to have when you see this is definitely probably going to be on a old desktop that you have in the house or old laptop. Okay, we have the serial port. It's used for external modem and older computer mouse, usually 9 pin. 9 pin model. You can see now it has 9 pin. Then I think I used to have a laptop called Dell laptop. It was a Dell D600, D630. All those laptops actually came with this serial port. And what do we use it for? We use the serial port if we want to configure a switch or a router. As a network engineer, definitely we use this port to connect. We use a serial cable, connect your system to the switch or router to be able to configure the router on the laptop or on the desktop. So, but like I said, we hardly have this on the latest models of laptop any longer. Then data travel at 115 KB per second. I think when I talk about KB, MB, GB, you should understand now because we discussed that extensively in my last video, which was lesson 1. Now, the parallel port is used for scanner and printer, also called printer port. This is the parallel port. The difference between parallel port and serial port, basically, this is 25-pin model, and this is 9-pin model. This is used, okay, on old computer mouse, or we use it to configure on a modem, okay, or external switch, used on a switch on a router, why this is basically for printer ports. So old printers that many of them does not have a USB, they come with this particular parallel port, and then for you to connect. But like I said, this is old technology, and you don't really have some of them again. Now let's look at another types of port. This is called PS2 port. If you use a computer like when we have Windows 98, 95, 98, or you still have a computer like that, You check the back of your computer, you discover that this is what you have there. This is used to connect your mouse and keyboard. Okay, so you can see the icon for keyboard here, while this icon is for your mouse. In fact, I remember in those days when I was in the university, my desktop computer, this is the only means of connecting mouse and keyboard to the desktop. Okay, and in most cases, when you don't look very well at the back of the desktop and you are plugging it, because you can see that this is a female port, this is O, then that means the mouse cable, the keyboard cable in this case now is going to be pin. So most time we don't position the pin properly, and then you get the you break the pin. I broke a lot of pin during that time. If I want to plug my keyboard, if you don't bend down, you don't look at it very well, by the time you want to insert, let me show you the mouth. Okay, now this is for the mouse, this is for the keyboard. Now this mouse, it has pin. You can see the number of pin that we have there. This is 6 pin that you have there. So if you don't position it properly, you might miss the O for the pin. And then the time you plug it and you discover that, hey, a pin has bent, and then in an attempt to correct it, the pin is gone. So before you know what is happening, you definitely may have damaged the cable, and then you can't replace it. What you have to do is to go ahead and get another keyboard to be used. So that was one of the major problems with this. It was not easy to use, not user friendly, not beginner friendly. It's not something like a USB cable today that you just pick and plug. This one you have to go to the back. So it was difficult. So I believe that is one of the reasons, among another reason where I'm going to tell you about why this technology has been upgraded or done away with. You can only see it now if you have an old desktop in your house or in any particular office. So it is used for old computer keyboard and mouse, and also called mouse port. Now, did you know one thing? That thing is the fact that the PS2 port I just show you now, the serial port we have talked about earlier on, as well as the parallel port, okay, the game port, all of them, all of them have been replaced by what? A USB port. So a USB port. You don't need to worry yourself about all of this any longer. You can get your mouse, you can get your printer, you can get your router, you can get your modem, whatever you want to connect, connected to your computer through the USB port. Now, let's talk about the USB port and cable. So there's a lot to actually discuss about this, since it has replaced many of the other ports, okay, uh, that have been in the system before now. USB, it means Universal Serial Bus. Universal Serial Bus. It can connect all kind of external USB devices, such as external hard disk, printer, scanner, mouse, keyboard, etc. It was introduced in 1997. The reason I was talking about, if you have a computer prior to that time, you are most likely going to be connecting it through the PS2. So connecting the mouse and keyboard, I mean. So most of the computer provided today, they comes with minimum 2 USB ports. Like the computer I'm using currently now, it has just 2 USB ports, one on the right, one on the left. So the question is that if I need to connect more than two, because now that all the other ports have been replaced by USB, I supposed to have so much USB port to be able to accommodate. Maybe I need to plug a mouse, plug a keyboard, plug my, but take note, if you are using a desktop, actually you have minimum of 4 USB ports, because you will have some in the front, then you have some also at the back. For laptop, most cases they come with 2 nowadays. So how do they expect us to connect other devices? Then you are expected to get them connected by getting a USB hub. The USB hub could be up to 4, it could be 8 USB ports. Then you connect the USB hub to your laptop, to one of the available ports on your laptop. That will extend the USB connection, or extend the USB port from the laptop to the USB hub. I'll show you the example of that as we proceed. So then data travel at 12 megabytes. Okay, 12 megabit per second for through the USB port. Now you can see the difference between, and this is even USB 1.10. There are USB that are faster than this day than 12 megabit per second. Now compare this to the serial port that we talk about that connects just 115 kilobits. Now kilo and 12 megabits, you know the difference between the two of them based on what we discussed in our last lesson. So that also tell you that the data transfer, the effectiveness, the speed at which the USB response is far better than serial port. Okay, USB compliance device can get power from a USB port. So now let's talk about the types of USB port that we have. There are about 3 or more type of them. We just focus on the following that I want to talk about now. We have USB type A. What is that all about? Mainly used for wired mouse and keyboard and USB stick. The type A. Now, this is a type A. Okay, this is a type A. This is the one that your mouse, if you check, if you have a mouse around a USB keyboard, then this is type A that you have. Beyond the type A, we also have USB type B. Is usually not used on modern computer, but it's commonly found on printer, routers, and scanner. Now, if you have a printer, you can look at the back of your printer. You're going to see a USB port there. But the mount is not like the type A, but it's also a USB. Look at it. This is how it looks like. Okay, so this is type B. Now, your printer have the type B. Your laptop and desktop, they have the type A. So the connection goes from the ports on the computer to the one on the printer. The USB cable, we have two mounts. One will be type B, the other one will be type A. Because the port on the laptop and desktop is type A. The port at the back of the printer is type B. So that's how you get your printer connected to the laptop. Now we also have a USB type C. It's the new standard for replacing USB A and USB B, and is designed better for thinner devices like MacBook, iMac, and mobile phone. I know many of us will have a type C phone right now that uses type C. If you look at the mouth, the port on your phone, remember your phone is like a palm top, okay? Is a mobile device. So if you look at the ports, the USB port that you have there, you discover that is a type C for most of the phone nowadays. Okay, so some are still using another type of USB, which we are going to talk about, but that's USB type C that we have, and this is how it look like. So it's different from type A, not as big, okay, like type A, and then it's different from type B. That is USB type C, and it's actually being used on mobile phone and all that. Then we have micro USB. Micro USB is actually what you now have on most of the other mobile phone. So if your phone is not using type C, it's definitely using micro USB. So you cannot plug a cable that is micro USB to type C, neither can you plug the type C to a micro USB. So take note of that on the types of USB ports that we have. Now we'll talk about the USB speed now, because we call all of them USB, but they have different speed, meaning that they are more effective than each other depending on the type that you have. Let's look at the version of USB that we have and their speed. We have 1.1, USB 1.1. That's the one I was telling you earlier on. It has a speed of 12 megabits per second. You have USB 2.0, top speed of 480 megabits per second. We have USB 3.0, 5 gigabit per second. You have 3.1, which could now, work and effective at 10 gig bit per second. So now, depending on the type, so I'm saying this, I'm trying to clarify between them so that when you say that, oh, this USB is 2.0, this USB is 3.0, if you're going to buy a hard drive, for example, I mean external hard drive, on the casing of the external hard drive, you will see it written there, USB 2.0, USB 3.0. That gives you an idea of what is going to be the speed of transferring file from my laptop to external hard drive or external hard drive to my laptop. You know what happens? If you have an external hard drive that is 1.1, the speed, the manufacturer has put it there that this USB port design on this hard drive is 1.1. And you have another external hard drive that they have written 3.0 as a speed there. And you have a file of 100 gigabytes to transfer from your laptop. You want to back up your laptop. Maybe you have a lot of movies, you have music, you have pictures, and you don't want to lose them. You want to back them up. It's going to take you a longer time to get them back up to external drive that is designed as 1.1 compared to the one that is designed as 3.0. So this is the difference between the two of them. When you talk about 1.1, you talk about 2.0, you talk about 1.1 or 2.0, they all have different speed. So technology nowadays is focused more on the size as well as the speed. Those are the two things that people are much more interested in. They want speed and they want it as smaller as it could be. So check the device. If you are making you are going to purchase a device, you are going to do, these are the, few things that technical things that you have to look out for in order to be able to get the best out of whatever you are buying. Now, let's talk about USB not working. What should I do? I have external hard drive. I just plug it to my laptop and I discover that it's not coming up. What could be the problem? What is the way out? The first thing to do, if you insert a USB device into your computer but find out that it's not working, the first thing is to restart your computer. Restart the computer. So this will check if the computer temporarily bug during the process of recognizing the USB. Because if you plug any new USB device for the first time to your system, the operating system will have to quickly run a check and identify the device. That is when you can use it. If you buy a new mouse, you plug it. Thank God for Windows 10, Windows 11. If it were to be the days of Windows 8, uh, even Windows 7, some USB device that you plug into your system, before it will work, you will have to install the driver for that external device for it to work. The driver contains the firmware, the software that required for that device to work. But some of those firmware has been integrated into the latest Windows that we have now. They have been integrated into Windows 10, they have been integrated into Windows 11. So that means you really don't need to do that. But in most, sometimes too, when you plug in, you might discover that it is not working. If it is not working, what do you need to do? It's actually first to restart your computer. If I restart my computer and it's not working, what next do I need to do? Then check your USB port or USB hub if you have any. I talked about the USB hub earlier on. This is an example of a USB hub here. Okay, so you check, is this USB hub? Remember, this cable goes to one of the ports on your laptop or desktop, while this now make the USB port available to you. So this one port that goes to the laptop, then this other form, you can now plug different USB devices to them, to your laptop through this. So you might need to check if you are using something like this. Maybe the USB hub is bad. If that is not the case, then change the USB cable. Okay, if it is for external hard drive like I talked about, you can actually remove the cable and get another cable to test whether the problem is the device itself or the cable that is having problem. Another thing that you need to do, try other USB ports on your computer. It's possible that a particular USB port is dead. Okay, and then to fix most of the USB port anyway, after you have gone to device manager, you can't do it. If you reload your operating system, that resolves most of the issues with USB port. So, but the best thing to do before you get to that level, that is extreme level. So what you need to do again is try other different USB ports that you have on your system. Just try and check the other USB port, plug into a different USB device. Okay, plug in a different USB device. So in this case now you are trying to rule out, could it be the device that is bad? Could it be the cable that is bad? Could it be the port that is bad? So the test I've given to you here could solve those three. You are able to clear your doubt and be able to identify what exactly the problem is. Before you throw away your device and say, this thing is not working again, it could just be the cable that is bad. And finally, you can reset SMC if you are using a MacBook, or open the device manager if you are using a Windows. If you open a device manager, that is actually where you have all the firmware for the hardware that are inside your computer, and you can re-enable the USB controller if you have a Windows PC. So USB controller is there on the device manager. You can actually reopen that. If you really want me to do a video about that, please drop a message in the comment section. I can show you how to do that. But that is actually on the engineering aspect of it. But it's something that you should be able to do. It's not complex. You are not going to break the system by knowing and then doing that. Okay. So now let's move forward. The big question. What's the big question here? The big question is this: my laptop is old model. It has only VGA ports, no HDMI port on the laptop. Okay, but my new TV at home or projector in the office is a new technology with HDMI port but no VGA port. How do I connect my laptop to my TV or to the projector so I can share my screen? That is the big question that I want to answer now. We've talked about some of the ports that they are old technology, but the interesting thing is that some people still have systems and devices that they have those ports. And now you bought a new projector, you bought a new TV. The new TV is coming with entirely new technology entirely. So the question is that how are you going to connect? How are they going to communicate? The way to get that to communicate is what we call through a converter. That is what you call USB to HDMI converter. In the next slide, I'm going to talk about the HDMI. You get to know about it. I'm going to talk about the VGA as well. So, but we have a converter, VGA to HDMI converter or USB to HDMI converter. What does that mean? This is your laptop that is having, for example, is having USB. This is your projector that is having HDMI. Your TV is having HDMI, 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 but you only have this as no HDMI on the laptop. It's a USB port, and I want to connect the two of them. So what you need to do is to get a converter, USB to HDMI converter. So on the converter, it has a USB mount. So the USB will go to the laptop, and then the converter has also, you can see HDMI. So the HDMI will go straight to projector. We have some of the converter that have more than one port HDMI, but it could be four. It could be one USB to four HDMI. So you are able to connect the four of them at the same time, or you connect them one after the other. The same thing with VGA to HDMI converter. So this HDMI cable, and then this is a converter. This is a USB converter. This USB to HDMI converter, VGA to HDMI converter. Now let's talk about VGA and HDMI before we wrap up the lesson 2. Okay. Now the VGA port. I just show you the VGA converter now to HDMI. What is VGA port? It's called Video Graphic Adapter port. It connects monitor to a computer video card. Your monitor in the house, your desktop monitor, can only be connected to your CPU via the VGA port or via the HDMI port. So if you are using the old technology, definitely you are going to have the VGA port. You are using an old device, you are going to have the VGA port on your monitor, and you have another one on your laptop or desktop. So that's how they connect. It has 15 O's. 15 O. Remember, not pin. It has 15 O. This is the O. At the back of your CPU or by the side of your laptop, if the laptop is old model. If it is new model or recent model, you are not going to have this port. That I know. You are not going to have it. They have replaced it with HDMI. So if you don't have it on your laptop, don't worry about that. If you don't have it on your desktop, don't worry about that. I'm just talking about it because you might have to do something with it. I'm going to talk about what it has been replaced with. Okay, the same way the parallel serial port has been replaced with USB, VGA port has been replaced as well with HDMI port. We are going to see that in a short while. So this is your VGA port, and then this is VGA cable. Okay, VGA port, VGA cable, VGA cable, VGA port. You can see it has O, it has pin. The cable goes straight to the hole. and the other side of the cable goes through to your other device. It could be projector, like I said earlier on. It could be monitor, okay, whichever one is going to connect to. The other side is going to go there. Why this will go to your laptop or go to your CPU. What next do we need to know about VGA port? It's similar to the serial port, if you remember the serial port that we talked about. However, serial port connector has pin, while VGA port has O. So the serial port that I showed you earlier on, it was pin that we have here, whereas VGA port has O. That's the difference between the VGA port and the serial port. Now let's talk about the HDMI port. Great. This is HDMI port. Now, the full meaning of HDMI is Higher Definition Multimedia Interface. It's a proprietary audio or video interface, this HDMI port. Proprietary audio or video interface. So what it has does is to replace audio and the video. You need two different cables to connect that before. But HDMI can do that now, and it does it better. It does it with a very good resolution. If you connect a projector via VGA and you connect via HDMI, you are going to see the difference. HDMI will be more clearer because we are going to have the resolution at 1080 pixels, even if not higher, because it also has different standard. Okay, so but the minimum you are going to have there is 1080 pixels, which is going to give you a higher resolution, clearer picture, clearer audio than what you are going to have if you use the VGA port. So that's what the HDMI port, what it has come to offer us. Now, one of the things it also offers simplicity. Like I said, one cable, handle videos and sound. Okay, it's a complete upgrade from those 5 components before, where you have blue, yellow, red. If you are plugging to your decoder, if you have any decoder in the house now, whether it's going to be your digital decoder, you know the whole technology, the way to connect. You have at the back of your TV, you have these 5 components: yellow, red, I don't know, black, and so on like that. So you don't need that again. One single port now, which is VGA cable to the port, to the VGA port. You get all of the sound, you get the image, you get the video without having to do that. So simplicity is another thing that it brought. Then the resolution is better. Like I said earlier on, you have 1080 at minimum. So you are going to have a clearer picture, sharper picture. You are going to have a better audio, and then quality is there. And then it's more convenient than DVI or VGA. Far, far more convenient than VGA. So that's the reason why when you have a laptop now, like the laptop I'm using right now, there is no VGA port there. What I have there is HDMI port. And already talked about, if you have a device that has VGA and your laptop is having HDMI, how am I going to connect? Get a converter to convert and then make them to be able to communicate. That's the simplest way of handling that. Now, for your HDMI port, okay, the majority of the HDMI connector in use today, they are type A, which is standard. We have type C, mini, and then we have macro as shown. So this is standard. We can see the mouth. I don't know, this is a mouth. If you have a TV that's HDMI, you can take the back of your TV. This is mini, and then this is macro. It also depends on the device where you are going to connect. They are all HDMI, and they are going to do the same thing for you. So that is the lesson 2 on computer port that we are talking about today. So if you have any question regarding any of those areas that we have talked about, drop a message in the comment section, or you drop our WhatsApp message. We are going to respond to that. And like I said, in the next video, because I believe you might want to buy a laptop for your training or for something like that, or for somebody, what are the things you need to look out for before you buy? You need to watch that video before you buy your next laptop, okay, or before you buy your next computer. So because of that, remember to subscribe and then share this video. Also, you want to request that I do a training in any of these areas. Flourish Computer, these are the training that we do: ICT and computer training for beginners. That's what we are working on right now: ICT and computer training for employees and job seekers. Getting started with web design with zero coding knowledge, computer networking, computer engineering, repair and management, cyber security, and digital marketing. If you want me to do any video in any of these areas, please just drop a message in the comment section. These are some of the review that some of Our students have dropped that have been part of our training one way or the other in the time past. Okay, so I'd like you to thank you for watching to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell.